Well, hey y'all. It is a very chilly, rainy, misty rain kind of day, right?
Yeah.
So today is my Granny Lorene's 101st, I think, birthday. She passed away 19 years ago. And today we're going to go place some flowers out at the cemetery. And we're going to have a little chit-chat talk about grief and how we move forward. You ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with Chrissy O. So yeah, we're here. We're here at United Methodist Fellowship Church, I believe it's called. I used to come here when I was a little girl, and it's misty raining, but it doesn't matter. Today is Granny Lorene's birthday, or at least we're celebrating her birthday by doing some flowers, some memorial flowers. I always like to put these things out in memory of loved ones. You know, yeah, we grieve our loved ones and we love our loved ones, and what better way to just remember them than a lovely bouquet of flowers. And she loved flowers of all kinds, so it's quite appropriate. She had quite the expansive flower bed. So just join us. I've got stuff in my trunk, and we're going to go straight over there to take her Christmas flowers off, hers and Pa Arthur's Christmas flowers off. And we're going to put more of a spring type arrangement up. And I'll take her little saddle home, and I will make it into something really pretty and springy, and we'll bring that back. But today we're going to do the vases and the birthday flowers. So let's go and follow me, and we'll get all that stuff worked out. So we missed her little birthday by a day or so, but either way, it was her birthday recently. We lost her 19 years ago, coming up soon in June actually. And this was my Pa Arthur, as we called him, Papa. He's been gone a long time. And Granny Lorene and Pa Arthur were the best set of grandparents anybody could have ever wanted or could have ever had, really. They really did a lot for their family and did a lot to keep their family together. And I don't think we have a lot of that now. I'm a little bit different. I'm cut from a different cloth. I like to come and pay my respects and just sit down and have little conversations with them. And I know they're listening. And we pay respects to them. And next door over here is Pa Arthur's brother, Uncle Herman. So there he is. He left, oh Lord, I was probably about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years old, but I do remember him pretty well. So he's been gone a long time. That's Pa Arthur's brother, and they're buried really close together, so they can have all kinds of lovely little heavenly conversations together. And we're gonna work on some flowers now, so let's take this time out and do that. So I used to love to come out here to this church with Granny Lorene and Pa Arthur when I was little, and it's just pretty. Everything about it's pretty, and I enjoyed it when I was little. They had some really nice little programs. You can see the flags and you can see the sign out there. And if you're in the area of good old Princeton, North Carolina, it's Fellowship United Methodist Church. I think I might have said it wrong in the beginning, huh? But it's okay. They talk about Easter, and they have all different kinds of things that they have here. So here's the church. It is a magnificent church. It is a beautiful church. Come out and visit them, you know. If you're looking for a church, come on out and visit them. But I remember walking up those steps, and up there in the top was the bells. And they used to have somebody that would meet you out there in the very front, and they would ring the bells, and people that would escort you to your seat if you needed help. Or I just remember them being so super friendly. And I always loved stained glass windows anyway. This part right here was not here. None of this part was here when I was little. And they've since fenced in this part of the cemetery. But I had a lovely time here, and I can remember going to Bible school at summers. I don't know if you guys remember going to Bible school during the summer, but man, I sure do. And back here was the fellowship hall. I assume it still is, and it had classrooms and things back here. And man, I just had some of the best times back here in these little classrooms. And they have swing set and picnic tables out here now, which is interesting. Because back then, I think they still may have had some of the same things. So things change over the years, but what a pretty area, and just a pretty church with a really peaceful, quiet cemetery that's filled with family members and all kinds of things. So I'm glad I get to come out today and do a little visit. We can do one of two things. We can allow grief to overtake us. And there's no period of how you grieve or when you grieve. There's literally no time limit on that. That's up to you and God. So if somebody tells you, hey, it's time, you shouldn't be doing all of this anymore, and you need to get over it, you know, just smile and politely do what you need to do, because there is no time limit. Grief lives with you forever. It's how you allow it to rule and run your life. And we sure have experienced a lot of grief and loss, especially lately. I've got a couple of friends of mine right now who his mother passed away this week, and today his wife's father passed away. So you're like, well, why are you walking around in this cemetery? It's because I'm just saying hey to some of my family members and old friends and relatives and people that are out here. Just kind of giving them a little nod and a little, hey, how you doing? Just out of respect. That's all it is. It's just being completely respectful for everybody who's out here, because at one point in time their life mattered, and it's important that we understand the here and now, and that our lives matter. And again, not everybody has the nerves or has the want to or the will, or they don't live close enough to family to come and visit and place flowers and do such things when people are gone. And that's a personal choice and a personal decision. Mine is that I like this. It's good for me. It's not always good for everybody to do, but it's good for me. I like doing that. I really do. I enjoy doing that. This is Aunt Leslie Johnson and Uncle John Dalma. I know him as Uncle Dalma Rowe. Now, I have no clue if these people are kin to me or not. I just grew up with them. Aunt Leslie used to teach me how to play organ when I was little. And when I would come up here for church when I was little, she would play for the church up here. And she would teach me how to play certain hymns and certain things with the organ. And she had a beautiful piano and a beautiful organ at her house. And she was just a doll. And she always had fresh lemonade, especially during the summertime. And Uncle Dalma had chickens, and I remember the chicken houses. Man, just rows and rows of them. And I would ride in Pa Arthur's old truck. We go up there, and I thought it was the most wonderful thing to see all those little biddies and those under those hot lights, and all walking up and down all those houses. And then every once in a while, that old mean rooster would come around the corner and he'd try to get me. But this is my nod to you guys. And a lot of times too, when I'm putting out flowers, and I do come out here a lot of the seasons, And if I notice that some of my family or friends, you know, don't have flowers in their vases and I have extra flowers to share, then I will do that. I will place foam and flowers and kind of help other family members and people out, because you don't know what people are going through. And you don't know if they can get up here, visit, because sometimes people can't get out here until certain seasons, and they're beautiful to leave out, you know. They're perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. Just spending a little bit of good time, quiet time, and just saying hey to the family. And as hard as it is to lose people in the physical sense, you can still carry them with you. And you can move forward and carry them with you every single day. In whatever way you need to. Whatever helps you. And you can move forward with them. They haven't gone forever. You'll see them again one day. Provided we do all the things we're supposed to do here on earth, you'll see them again. It's awful anytime you lose somebody that you love, because you're so super connected in so many ways. And sometimes we take for granted that I'm going to see this person every day, I'm going to talk to this person every day, and then when they're gone and you don't have them, it's hard to maneuver around all of those feelings and all of those things that we have. Grief is very difficult. You can move with it and you can move forward with it to get to where you're functioning. But there's cases like mine where I couldn't, just could not. So you have to go talk to somebody, you know, and it's okay. It's fine. You know, I don't like the whole stigma. It really concerns me and bothers me, because people are so quick to judge. Oh my God, you must be this or that or crazy, or you must have issues or something. Yeah, we all have issues. So what? And you know what? You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell anybody anything. You don't have to tell anybody your business. Because I didn't. I did a year and a half. And it was a friend of mine who was a therapist, and it was a Christian therapist, which you can go to any kind of therapist you want to, doesn't matter, whatever. If you're not a religious person, if you need it, go, because you get to a point where sometimes that's what you need to kickstart you into having peace and having comfort. But being able to function is really big. It's a really big deal. Grief and loss is just terrible. It is absolutely terrible. And it stays with you. Sometimes you'll be able to be okay with it, and then some days you won't. Those heartfelt connections and emotions and feelings and attachments that you have with the people that you cared for so much, they just don't disappear and go away. They're there. And things will trigger certain things, certain smells, certain foods, certain places, certain stuff will trigger those things and those thought processes, and all that stuff comes back. And that's okay. It's fine. You don't have to tell anybody if you need to go talk to somebody, or if you need to go to therapy, or, you know, just anybody, anything. The point is don't fall apart in the grief. Don't get so depressed and so bad with the grief that you can't move with it, because it will get easier. It took me a year and a half. 2017 sucked really bad. And then in the last, I'd say, 8 months of this whole year, or 2021, the last 8 months of 2021 into the beginning of 2022 has been tough again. We've been hit really hard with a lot of stuff, a lot of things. And you get grief and loss in different ways, not just losing people and losing, pets, losing, relationships, a lot of stuff. Grief hits you in multiple ways. When I went out to the cemetery today and I felt all those feelings, I was like, oh no, I'm all anxious, I feel weird, it's the grief, am I gonna cry? It's okay, do it. It's emotions, it's what it is. Because those of us who have loved, we are emotional. We cry, we grieve that person. I mean, my grandmother's been gone 19 years. I still think about her. I still have pictures of her in my home, and I go and place flowers out because for me, that's what I do. That's how I move forward with that grief. My grandpa's been gone for, gosh, a long time, 20 some, heck, maybe even 30 years now. He's been gone a really long time. But you don't ever forget him. You just move forward. And as long as you're functioning and as long as you have that good, steady, strong support system or something, if you don't have a strong, steady support system, then, get past all the stigma, get past all the BS of people telling you you're crazy. You're not. If you need therapy, go get it. There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. And you don't have to tell anybody. I didn't. Nobody knew. And that was my personal choice in my business. And between me and my therapist that I talked to, hey, it was great. Got me through a really, really tough time. I couldn't even get out of bed. It was awful, awful, just awful. So the book that I have here talking about our Batten and Wilson and Batten and Hale's family history and pictures and all of these things in here, it gave me a really great sense of where my Granny Lorene came from. And she had a very tough life, but she never let that show. We never really knew that she had to deal with her mother's death, childbirth, way back then, and the baby passing away in front of a young little girl, and then Granny Lorene marrying at age like 14 to my grandpa, who was a lot older than her, but that's what they did back then. And her grandparents or her grandmother and them taking her to raise, and then her other siblings, she felt grief and loss over her other siblings because they were shipped off to Ohio for whatever reason, because we're in North Carolina. They got shipped off to Ohio to an orphanage, except for her and a few others. I never knew what she really went through until I saw it in the book. Until my Aunt Vicky literally has spelled everything out in this book. So I know what they went through and how they overcame their grief and their loss, because they lost a lot of children back then. There was a lot of people that they lost. And I'll delve into this book a little bit later on. But I want you guys to know that it doesn't matter what people say. People are going to talk. They're going to say negative stuff about therapy and mental health and all of this stuff. I'm sorry, but they're wrong, and your brain health and your mental health, your emotional health affects your physical health, your medical health. And if this is not well up here and you can't think and you can't function and you're having a terrible time, it's none of anybody's business if you have to go see therapist. Go do it. The whole stigma and people, just saying, oh, you gotta go do therapy, you must be crazy. No. Ignore that, because you can move forward. Will you forget? Nobody does. You don't forget, but you do learn to work around it, and you learn from it, and then you learn to make yourself stronger than you were the day before, and then the next day it's a little bit better. And then you learn all of these really cool techniques and these really great ways of thinking, and then next thing you know, you're out of bed, you're exercising again, you're eating better, you feel better, you can maneuver in home life and work life and relationships, and the balance, even though it's a little teeter-tottery and it's a little off some days, you're still able to function. Grief stays with you forever. You don't lose it. You move forward with it with help. And if you don't have a support system and you don't have anybody you can confide in that's not going to make you worse, because you're important and you matter and we want you to hang around. Now, I'm going to work on this book. And it's pretty thick. You see all the pages in this book that she put together? So I'm going to work on this book. And I'm going to go through. And I'm going to read all about this family history and my adopted side of the family. And kind of get a good feel for what they went through and how they maneuvered through it, because they ended up fine. You know, tragedy, we all experience it. But good can come from it, and you can learn from it. Don't feel good, but you will learn to be humble and be better than you were before. Leave a comment if you want to. Like and subscribe and share. I'm going to be sharing a lot of different things, random things. It's going to be fun. We're going to be able to talk. The podcasts are coming back, so that's a big thing. You guys will be able to share what makes you happy, because now we're back on track again, the pursuit of happiness. So I appreciate you guys for stopping by, and thanks for hanging out with me and the fam today, and be good. And if you need a link to any resources, if you're in the state of North Carolina, let me know in the comments below, and we'll link you to a lot of resources. And we'll see what we can do to move along together in our pursuit of happiness.